But can they attack while I'm looking at them? Like, okay, they can. That's what I said, like, that would be a huge oversight. Hey there, and welcome back to Five Nights at Maggie's Classic Edition, where we pretty much got stuck on Night 5. I mean, we made nights 1 through 4, you know, not too bad. But Night 5 is rough because Cerdi just doesn't have any chill whatsoever. Like that. Like, I barely did anything, and already they're doing stuff. And see, I have to be careful because the reality is this guy likes to sneak in through the right side. Like, he likes to sneak in very easily. Like, almost like at a ridiculous pace. The aggression on Cerdi is off the charts. I mean, he can literally appear in the vent while you're on cooldown for the actual closing of the vent, which is wild to say the least. And even camera 6 isn't safe because at least on one occasion I've seen him show up at the vent, or not the vent, at the door without actually showing up on camera 6. Let's see if that happens now. I feel rather unsafe about the fact, like, you have to do this, but then you have to watch the vents again, because you never know. He's there, close the vent, the door. And now I have to be like, okay, is he actually there? He's not there, so we're good. Now he's there again. This is how extreme it is. This is the level of extremities we're dealing with when it comes to... this is to the point where I'm worried about even going off camera as a result. It scares me. Because in, like, the flash of an eye, or blink of an eye, flash of an eye, I can miss him. Okay, he's actually at the door, that's good. And so we pretty much have to keep this up. We almost beat Night 5 last time. It's definitely doable. My worry is that whenever... Oh, nope, we're not falling for that again. He jump scared me once when he was at that camera. Can't let that happen. Okay, let's see, is he gonna try it again? Yes, he is. Look how long that takes. That scares me. The fact that the cooldown, like, he can attack while on cooldown, is slightly terrifying. And see, there you go as well. So, there is a change in the jump scares. You can see the difference in the jump scares from when he hops down from the vent or attacks from the door. He was at the door without showing up on camera, period. So, that's why it's like, in terms of balance for this night, it is rough because how am I supposed to be able to react so quickly with the vents if I can't even... It's so weird. He can attack in so many ways with just the vents and the door alone. Realistically speaking, that's why, for the most part, I've been keeping the door closed while on camera, because you can't trust to have the door open on camera at all because of what just happened there. So yeah, in other words, the main strategy really, keep the door closed, watch camera 9, on occasion check camera 6 to see if he's on camera and to see if the door's open or if the door can be opened so I can let the battery recharge. But even again with that, it's so risky. Like, even with him here, what the hell? I don't know why that was so loud, but I can't open the bloody door because I'm worried he's gonna just strike. So it's kind of like a little balancing game you have to pretty much play here with the power itself. Pretty much as long as he's on camera or he's at the doorway, I have to have the door closed no matter what. And see, sometimes he can just do that. That's why you can't get complacent. He'll just show up at the door. He won't be there when he leaves the camera, but randomly, he'll just do it. And sometimes I wish I could just wait for him to attack the vents to open the door, but that's not safe either, really. You have to be like super precise about what you're doing, so you don't fall for any shenanigans here. Honestly, just when I can actually see him in the vents, it makes things so much easier because that's the only grace period I can trust when he's attacking the vents. Other than that, I have to be extremely careful about what I do. 5 a.m. 50% 5 a.m. I don't think is enough. I need him to attack the vents. I mean, 58%, definitely a big boost there. Even here, I get a little worried about opening the door. I just don't want to miss him. 60%. I think we should be good now. Frankly, I think we should be good about leaving the doors closed all the way. Hopefully. Or you could just attack the vent again. That'd be great. Alright, we opened it a little bit. That's fine. 40%. We're so close. I don't know what happens with power outage. I don't know if that's going to give me... if I get any additional time from after reaching that. But it doesn't matter, because 6 a.m. There we go. That's tough. That's tough to like starting out, especially from like the previous nights. It just completely switches up in intensity. So now we're falling Cerdi again, but this time it's Lola. Well, I guess, yeah, that does make sense. This is after night 5. I didn't actually look around anywhere else. I want to check something. Okay, so this is the same establishment. Also, did they have glowing eyes before? Because Guppy, what I'm calling Guppy, has green eyes now. I don't quite recall if they had glowing eyes before. And I haven't really taken a look around everywhere, but now we know that Cracky and Guppy, this is the same establishment, it's just a different show stage at the time. If I keep going up, this should lead me to Cerdi, I'm guessing. Yep. But this time, I'm not seeing a kid with him. Oh, and this time it just goes to static immediately. Steve Gennaro, $50.50. For 1992, I mean, 50 bucks? For, wait. So, 30, that's not even $2. Like, I mean, I guess, like, even if you account for taxes, that's crazy. Okay, night 6. I am so worried about this. Because night 6, who's active? That's my question. Because if it's Cerdi, then I'm screwed. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm hoping it's just the regulars. Oh my god. See, this is why I kept dying all those times on night 4. Because he's pulling off that nonsense. The good thing is I don't have to worry about any of these guys doing the... Actually, wait, no. Let's see if this glitch works again. Can I keep you there? Because it happened on night 4. I don't know if that's actually a bug with this mechanic. So I am curious to try it. But I don't know. I mean, again, I'm trying. At the same time, I don't really want to get jump scared. But I'm curious whether it's actually like, if I'm like bugging him out because I'm using a flashlight, or if it's just, again, if he goes to the center hallway, he just stays there if you don't shut the door, which in this case would be great for me. Oh, okay. So if you don't, if you watch him and you don't go on camera at all. Wait, so is that... Oh. Oh, that was so weird. For a second, I thought I was actually stuck under the desk. So, interestingly enough, I guess the way the system works... It's not that it was bugged, but he's gonna stay there, and he won't move from this spot unless I look away. So, it's in my benefit to keep him there, pretty much. Which is kind of funny because, again, technically speaking, there is no need for cameras, right? When he's in the center hall, there's no need for cameras because they're the only camera character I need, right? They're the only, the only way I know if he's in the vents is by checking the camera at that moment. And so since I don't need cameras for anyone else, because no one else can attack my bloody doors without showing up at the doors, this is pretty much a free mechanic right here. Again, because the other two are not like Cerdi, where they'll attack you just for being in the room adjacent to this one. Also, it should definitely be noted, I'm pretty sure this restaurant is the exact same layout as the minigames. It only makes sense, given we have seen The Office, and it seems to be in a very, like, just like grid layout almost. But I'm not going to check the cameras to confirm that right now anyway. But still, that means this whole time I've been fine with Guppy's mechanic then. I don't think the flashlight really affects it either. We could try. What if I just don't shine at that doorway? And you know what? I'm guessing the same is with Maggie too. Whenever Maggie shows up in this center hallway, I'm pretty sure that's how they kept entering. They show up at the center hallway when I'm not on camera. Or when I am on camera, right? I'm looking away. Maggie shows up. Because I'm looking away, she just enters the room. And that's how I'm like, wait, what the hell? How did she get in here all of a sudden? That's probably what was happening. Just like right now, pretty much. As long as I don't go on camera, which again, I don't need to. So this is great. This pretty much disables one of the characters for me. At this point, it's pretty much just the juggling game of the doors. I mean, hell, I don't even need to really worry about power management. Because even though, like, even though I don't hear the characters leave, I know they will leave rather quickly. So I'm not too concerned. Speaking of which, I saw a post from the developer of, I believe it was, see, I really am trying not to mess up the, I know who the developer is. El Refericio is the developer. I believe that's Maggie Mania. I swear to God, if I'm getting these games mixed up. In fact, I could try and check right now, but I have to keep scrolling through. So I don't really want to mess it up. Okay, so it was indeed Maggie Mania. I actually did remember that properly. I think they made a post regarding like sound cue mechanics. And I don't know, it was something interesting to think about because a lot of times like they were talking about how there can be an over-reliance on the idea of sound cues. Like take this game for example. Closing the doors and you waiting for a sound cue to tell you it's safe, open the doors, right? Obviously that's something that we tend to see pretty frequently in fan games that, you know, utilize door mechanics and whatnot. And so I like, it's something that I always harp on about with games is the idea of like relying on the cameras more, right? And not having the cameras be like this one trick pony type thing where, you know, you only need one camera and that's it. And we're talking about how like, I think in Maggie Mania specifically, right, they're kind of following what this game does with the doors where you don't get a sound cue for when they leave, right? Oh, and okay, you don't get a sound cue for when they leave. You pretty much have to be vigilant on your own, like a, you know, like a security guard would be, right? Checking the cameras, making sure where they are and whatnot, and kind of like keeping track of their positions. And I, in general, like that idea. I mean, again, it's probably not something I even noticed in the demo at the time, but I am quite a fan of that idea because, again, it promotes using the cameras more. Something that I tend to talk about more because, again, it's like I think at this point it's become a bit of a pet peeve whenever I see games have this camera system, and in a sense they fall into the same trap that kind of happened with the first Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Because in the first Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah, camera system. What do you really use it for on like difficult nights, for example? We're not even going to talk about custom nights because that's a whole separate issue. But it's like you only really use the cameras for Foxy, right? And maybe Freddy in the bottom right corner. But I guess $20. Wait, how does that work? I get $20 for 6 hours, $50 for 30. What? Okay. But yeah, basically, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's, at least, you know, when you think about it from a general use case basis, you don't need the cameras all that much in the first FNAF, right? Like, again, this is just an example. Obviously, we're talking about a game that came out in 2014, but it's just like that idea is something that I've noticed has stuck around, or that the way that mechanic was implemented, and you know how it was a part of like the core gameplay there. It's like it's something that I've seen stick with a lot of fan games over the years, where you have this camera system. You have all, you know, all these different rooms, whatnot. Obviously, sometimes you have games with few cameras, with more cameras. But sometimes, eventually, as the game gets more and more difficult, you find yourself not being able to use the cameras either because A, it's not necessary. B, you don't have the time to rely on the cameras for their positions, right? You have to be in the office a lot more, like, you know, off camera. And so a lot of times, like, I bring that up, right? With fan games, like a critique, like sometimes, like, you know, yeah, the cameras don't play a big role, right? Like they do in the early nights because of how the mechanics are and everything. So the idea that in a game like this, right, and in Maggie Mania, they're kind of going for this whole idea of like, yeah, you have the camera system, you're encouraged to use it to know where they are instead of just relying on sound cues, pretty much telling you, okay, it's safe. I like that idea. So I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up since, well, pretty much kind of witnessing it here in this game. Now we beat night 6. We pretty much got our endings. Obviously, pretty much, yeah, we made it out nice and easy. We do have custom night. Now this kind of concerns me because we're dealing with what? 520 mode, which I'm imagining is not gonna have a great balancing period, given what we've seen from a character like Cerdi, Guppy. I mean, hell, because of Cerdi, I can't even take advantage of Guppy standing in the front hallway because I'm gonna have to go on camera to see if it's safe to open or close the door. So I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. This one should be interesting. This one should be really interesting, honestly. We'll see how it works. Yeah, we're already striking, aren't we? I mean, I have to do this. I can't really afford to deal with you. Close this. Okay, you actually stuck around a bit more than I would have liked. In the vents. In the vents again. I mean, it's like, what the... And that's the thing, it's like... It's not like, it's one of those things where it's like, if it happens and you're not looking at the cameras, you'll never know. You'll never know. I think I'm gonna have to do what I tried doing in the last video, where I just shut the vents constantly. It's the only way. It's the only way I can guard against missing that mechanic. I say that, and then something like that can happen. Like, what the? I don't think this is reasonably. I don't know if this is reasonably beatable. Honestly, if anyone beat this, you must have gone at it for a while, because this is just insane. He's already there. Close the vents again. Of course you're there. There's no need to close the vents anymore. Well, yeah, of course, if I open the door too much. See, that's the thing with Cerdi, like, again, like, clearly in this game, it's kind of more like you have to kind of, like, visually see them on camera to know you're safe, but at this speed, it's not really doable, right? So, again, there's also a matter of, like, I like that, you know, you're encouraged to use the cameras more to see if the doors are safe and whatnot, but obviously you have to take balance into account, right? Like, again, is there going to be enough time for you to be able to use the cameras effectively, you know, with regards to gameplay, and not be a point where it's like, well, you know, I could use the cameras, but if I use the cameras, I end up getting screwed one way or another. Already? I mean, this is the only thing I can think of. Why in the world does door power have to drain when they enter? I guess it's like a punishment for letting them... I came up too early, I'm guessing. But yeah, I guess I might talk about that a bit more in my thoughts on the game, which honestly is probably going to be very soon, because I don't think I'm beating this. I don't think I'm beating this. Cerdi on their own was a pain in the ass, and now I gotta contend with the other four. I mean, maybe 420 would be more doable. You know, in general, I think my biggest issue is Cerdi. I think they're my biggest issue. They're like, they are by far the most unbalanced one frankly, because they can attack without being at the doorways. I think that for me is probably one of the biggest points, and the fact that they can enter the vent while the cooldown for the closed vent mechanic is still occurring. I think we're gonna have to leave this one be. I mean, let's see taking Cerdi out of the equation. Let's see how much more doable this is. I'm telling you, it's gonna be night and day. Night and day. All I need really is to have, there you go. It's gonna be night and day. Because the gameplay here is not gonna change. It's gonna be exactly like Night 6. The problem is that because of how Cerdi works, I'm forced to go on camera. Not even just for the vent mechanic. I mean, for one, Cerdi can't get trapped in the center hallway, so I'm forced to deal with the vent mechanic. Even if I do the vent mechanic and I spam it every try, right, like I use it pretty much every moment possible, the problem is that they can still attack me without actually showing up at the office doorway. So I'm seriously? So virtually, I'm vulnerable even if I don't see them at the doors. Why? Why are you doing this? Okay. Maggie, please. Why are you doing this to me? Is this supposed to be their way of punishing me for trying to cheese Guppy right now? No way. There's no shot. They're actually gonna waste my power. Okay, Maggie. It's over. Maggie's actually gonna drain the power. I'm curious, actually. Can they even... I never actually considered that. Can they... Hold on. Time for a bit of an experiment. Can they attack... I never considered this because Cerdi always attacks me. But can they attack while I'm looking at them? Like, okay, they can. That's what I said. Like, that would be a huge oversight if that was possible. It was just remarkably long. But you can actually hold out with them for quite a while. I don't know if it's random. Maybe I just got lucky there. But that was surprisingly long. I was able to keep that door open. So honestly, if I use a strategy like that, that actually might work out a bit better in my favor. We got to 2 AM. This juggling of the power is certainly an interesting way to go about things. Because it feels like I have to intentionally let them look at me for a while so that I could actually recharge the power. It's the only way. Or at the very least, slow down the power drain, because having both of the doors closed constantly and Maggie just lurking around unlike all the others is making things a bit more tricky to manage. And then sometimes Maggie will just do that. She'll barely lurk around. So it's, but then she comes back, so it doesn't really make a difference. Why are they staying there? Oh my god, Maggie, why are you doing this to me? There we go. Finally got rid of them. But for how long? At least my... Okay, you know what? Actually, now we're good. Finally, my power's recovered. This game... I do not like this game. This game is so anxious. Like, doing this, like, juggling with the doors is so weird. It's like I'm tempting fate almost. Just by seeing them at the doors. Like, are you gonna open? I mean, not open. Are you gonna, like... What are you gonna do? As I keep these doors open for increasingly long periods of time. And then sometimes, like, you'll go away, but okay, that doesn't matter because they barely stay away from long. I mean, at the very least, me opening the doors is slowing down the drain to some extent, but still not more. I mean, I wish. Actually, no, this is good. Oh, why? You know what, we'll take 77. Screw it. What? They can do that? Is that what's happening? I'm just opening... They're like leaving and going multiple times. Is that what's happening here? We actually got through 420. What the hell? Now imagine if I was actually trying to do the vent mechanic. It would not work out. Wait, we actually get... Oh no, this is probably just a regular custom night ending. Maggie's Magical World will close next month by the demands of the company. These demands are from two companies. One called Freddy Entertainment, in charge of Freddy Fazbear Pizza. And I saw like cat company something. Wait, we actually get a star for that? Oh, wow. I'll take that. Okay, I'll actually take a 420 star. Because there's no way I'm doing 520. So I guess with that in mind, we should take a look at extras then. We only have animatronics and jump scares. So of course we have Maggie, Chansey, Lola, Guppy, and Cerdi. Of course these two are different in terms of music. I wonder why. Also, that definitely is Guppy in the cuts in the minigame because you can see the green eyes there. So that's definitely Guppy in those minigames. Then we have jump scares. Volume warning. By far the funniest. Or I guess least serious is probably a better way of putting it. See, they do have two jump scares for the bloody, you know. And of course we already knew about this one. And then here we have credits. Wait, what? You can move the words? What do I mean by that? Wait, what? Oh, don't touch me? Oh, wait, okay. Wait, I'm gonna keep doing it. Well, the game decided to quit on me. But that is gonna conclude our time here with Five Nights at Maggie's, the original version. So, my thoughts on the game. I mean, it's gonna be weird given how... Because, like, I mean, like, criticism-wise, like, what would I even say, right? Because I feel like a lot of the criticisms I have for this game was pretty much already addressed in the reboot, right? From a gameplay standpoint. I think, like, in general, this game's biggest flaw would be balancing. Specifically with Cerdi. The fact that Cerdi can jump scare you without showing up at the door is pretty wild. And the frequency of the vent attacks, which, you know, this also applies to Guppy, is also pretty insane. The fact that they can attack even though the vent cooldown is still going on is kind of weird, just because I feel like instinctually, if you see that the system's on cooldown, you're not going to think that they're going to attack your vents at that time. But it's also just like the fact that you can use the vent as soon as the sound cue ends, they can attack it almost immediately is pretty wild. But again, it's not impossible to manage, especially now that we, you know, pretty much figured out that Guppy can't attack, or I guess any characters that are in the center hallway cannot attack unless you look away. So that part luckily was easy to manage. But I think Cerdi's overall just the biggest challenge. In terms of gameplay, there's nothing much to really say, right? A lot of it's pretty much just like closing doors and shutting off the vents. It's pretty much the main two mechanics. Given we are talking about a game that came out in 2016, so I think for the times it definitely fits. And it's clear to see how much of an improvement the game has gotten through its reboot. I think, what, 5 years later, I think, is when Five Nights at Maggie's reboot came out. I think in general, overall, it was very interesting to see how this game ended up evolving into its reboot iteration for sure. And again, now that we actually got somewhat of an experience with the classic game, it makes me curious to see how these remake tributes are going to handle the very first Five Nights at Maggie's classic game, right? Or in terms of like, is Maggie Mania and the Curse of Maggie's gonna be more faithful to the classic game? Are they gonna take their own twists into it? I feel like we're already seeing that with Maggie Mania, at least on, you know, from what I saw in that demo with that bathroom post-shift segment. But since we're only talking about the demos here, we don't really know how much things are going to really change or how things are going to kind of like, I guess, improve upon the original. But it has me pretty curious nonetheless. And of course, that also makes me curious to see how the other Five Nights at Maggie's games are going to compare to their reboot versions. How much has changed? Because clearly from this game to the reboot, a lot has changed, and for the better. But of course, with all that said, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, hit that notification bell to keep up to date on future videos. The game will be in the description below as always, as well as a playlist to the whole playthrough. With that said, I'll see you in another video. Take care.